Hi, welcome to Adventures in Glass with Doug. I'm Doug. Today we're going to do something a little different. I know you've been watching the videos that I've done, and we've gone from making tall totems for outdoor use. We've made some smaller ones for indoor tabletop use. We've done some larger ones with punch bowls and fairy lights for solar fountains. So I thought, and we've done some hanging ones. So I thought today we would talk a little bit about enhancing this for inside if you wanted to have something that is lit, but you don't want to have solar, and you might want to use a battery pack. Okay, to illustrate some of this, I have a piece that was my mother's, and when I was cleaning out the house, I really didn't know what it was. I had to look it up. It turns out this is a bee or wasp trap, and what you would do if you had it in the house or on a porch, it has a hole in the center of the bottom. In this rim you would put something sweet to attract the bees or the wasps. It would fly up inside and then would be trapped and wouldn't be able to get out. I guess one of the tip-offs was that the stopper on it has a bee or wasp at the top. So I've put some lights inside this, and at Christmas I will put these up in the mantle along with some greens, and this particular set are some twinkling battery operated lights. Now I'm sure you have found similar battery operated lights to use on wreaths and in jars and that sort of thing. I'm going to show you how I've done that with some of these totems. This particular one, when I put it together, it really was fun because it, starting from the original vase, which had green and red mosaic glass, I thought, okay, that really speaks to Christmas. So I found some other green pieces to add to it, and I wired in some lights. It meant drilling a hole through the base plate and running the wire in, and then sealing it up again with silicone, and I adhered the batteries to the bottom, the little battery case, with silicone also. So that ended up being very festive for the holidays. I will turn the lights out in a moment so you can see that. And then another one that I had this blue chimney of mosaic glass, which I thought was really attractive. I had a pink bowl that I put on the bottom. I had some sort of pink rose colored crackle glass I put on the top, and I thought that was really cool. But the nice thing is the chimney was open enough for me. It had a space, and I could drill again through the bowl at the bottom, and that's not necessarily an easy process. You have to have the right diamond tip bits to do that, but was able to drill that hole, seal them up with silicone, fasten my battery pack there, and because I had pink and red, I thought that would be good. So what I have is, I think, a very attractive piece at night. So is this something that we can do? Well, I'm going to take a minute, go through some of the light choices that I have here, and see if we can create one of those together. This is a piece I did a number of years ago called New York, with some square vases and blocks. It was one of the first that I lit with a battery pack. The wires are a little loose, so I'm getting some flickering, but that was a fun piece to build, and for obvious reasons I called it New York, and it's about 3 feet tall, so it was kind of fun outside. But I'm going to do a little repair work on my battery pack and the wires before I can put it back outside. Here are the pieces I'm going to use today. Now I have a number of different light kits. I have one with some green lights, a bunch of other tiny micro lights, I don't know. I picked them up after the holidays many times on the cheap. So I've got a number of battery operated ones, but here are the glass pieces that I think we'll be using. The only thing I've got to figure out is which lights I want to use. To quickly show you, we're going to take a square plate that I have, top that with a square vase, a smaller blue vase, and this sort of shot glass on top. Now I very much like that. I kept trying different things, and to me somehow the lines of that just work. But it was an awful lot of open space inside, and I don't have any kind of little figurine or sculpture to put inside that. Even my little glass beads don't seem to be the right thing. So I thought, well, maybe this would be the one that I could do lights in. So before we construct that, let's see what you think. I have a small set of very white LED lights, which they're okay. They're very bright when they're that intensity. And then I had another set, slightly fewer, of sort of multicolor pastel lights. So my choices were the very bright, and I'm only putting it in the base, the very bright white or the multicolor. And I'm kind of leaning toward the multicolor, which it's interesting, when they're off you really can't tell, and the wire isn't particularly noticeable either. So I think that's the one we're going to work on. So let's dismantle this and get operations ready. Probably I'll do that in 2 steps. I've got to untangle this first. I'll be right back. My last light is here. I want it obviously to be inside, so I don't have a whole lot of room here for my battery pack to be separated. It's going to be visible. Not much you can do about that. They don't give you much lead on these. So I'm going to take the batteries out to make it a little lighter, and then we're going to go about, the way we're going to assemble this is I'm going to put the lid on this and let that dry, and then assemble the other pieces. Now, I've learned that it's helpful just tape that where I want it to be. The rest of these I want inside the edge. Okay, we're fastened down, and I think I'm going to leave that alone, let that dry. All right, I've flipped it over because I wanted to clean up the silicon edge a little bit. So we have our lighted base ready with all kinds of tape trying to hold the battery pack on there temporarily. Then the next step is going to be, as long as my silicon holds out, to get this piece on. Since this is going to be indoors, I'm not overly concerned about that being a waterproof seal. And our last piece is this. And there we have it, except you don't see it lit up. When I get it cleaned up and dried up, I will put the batteries in and turn it on for you, and you'll see our lighted totem. Well, it's time for the big reveal. Actually, here it is. We have this piece all glued together. It's dried. I'm going to take off the tape that I have, put the batteries in, and see what we get for some light. I think you can see it. Let's turn out the light. But I think that turned out really cool. Let me bring the camera down here a second. So what we have are some multicolored lights in our totem that I think will be kind of an interesting feature inside. Let me turn on the regular lights. They even show up fairly nicely when you've got your room lights on. So I'll take a picture of this in another setting inside perhaps, but at least you have an idea of what we've done here. It can be a fairly simple process adding them. You notice that you hardly notice that there's even a wire in there when the totem is standing by itself. So I think that turned out really nice.